So Emily's coming out today to she has not been out in a while, and I'm just going to show her kind of what I've been up to, because I've been doing a lot of grading and excavating. And then I'm going to try to get some of the things that I've been working on tucked in. I'd like to get some grass seed down before the rain comes in this weekend. So that's today. Wrap up on a few little projects. Blister showed up. You just keep seeding. Mush. And now we're planting some fescue here and gonna put some straw down. And then hopefully it'll start, it's raining a little bit. We hope it rains this weekend. The weather people always say it's gonna rain. 90% chance. So this is our test bed. Now we're gonna put straw, which also has seed in it. And if I had ruminant animals, they would be stomping that straw into this dirt and seeding it. And oh man, we'll have grass here. This was a mess to mow because it was a real deep gully and it would flex the mower and do all kind of stuff. It was just a mess. So not anymore. Good job. Now we're gonna go down and get some straw. Not straw, hay. And we're gonna put it on top. The hay will also have seed in it, which is good. Maybe I'll get Emily to break it up, or I'll break it up with the bucket first and then we'll scoop it into the bucket and carry it up. We're gonna try this anyway. I don't know if I'll be able to move a bunch of hay or not. We'll see. I'm supposed to be pretty strong because I do my deadlifts and my squats. We'll see if it translates. That'll work. One hay bale at a time. We have 130 hay bales. If anybody wants some grass seed or fertilizer. So we'll go cover the seed up here. All right, load number 2. So that was our first load, just spreading it out over the dirt. Probably take 4 loads. All right, I got the core of it. So Emily's gonna drive it up now. Get my pitchfork, because we're gonna have to bust that thing up when we get up there. So we've got this bale now, and I'm just unrolling it. This is what we're gonna do on the pastures. And then we'll just spread it around on the dirt. She's got her staff shirt on. I put her on staff out here. Is that right? The pay is minimal. Extremely minimal. Basically the pay here is you get to use the restroom. And if you bring your own food, you can eat. All right, that bale's spread out. So we're just driving over it now. We just needed a rain. Now that's pretty thick. The grass may not come through that, but regardless, it'll be better to have straw laying on the ground than nothing. And we'll just keep driving over it, mowing it, and eventually the seed that's in that will fill in. This is an experiment. This is my experimental plot. So ideally what you do in that situation is you put animals on it. You let your ruminants run on it and eat up the hay, and then they leave all the soil and the seed, and they leave a little hay, and it all gets packed down into the soil, and they pee and poop on it. And at that point you've got a freshly seeded pasture. So we're kind of doing that. The hay's not going to get eaten, obviously, so it's on too thick, which is fine. I'm just going to let it mulch up and degrade over time, and hopefully all those good things will wind up in the soil. I really think it's going to grow, though. I'll be surprised if nothing comes up right there. I think it's going to be pretty little pasture. We'll check back in a few weeks, in a few months actually, and see what happened. So that's a week. We did this last weekend and it's already coming up. I did not know if grass was going to come up through all that straw, but I see green all up in here. So our grass is working well. We seeded it and then we laid the hay on top of it, and it's rained one time. It rained about perfect. It did about a ½ inch of rain the night we laid the seed down, and then hadn't really done anything since, but the straw, I guess, is keeping it wet. So we're going to replicate that. We're going to do that back there as well. So you can kind of see in there's green all down through there. So it got good rain. It hasn't rained since, but hopefully that straw is keeping it moist. And by the spring, that'll be a nice stand of grass. So I'm going to sow a little grass seed. I got Kentucky 31. It's just regular old lawn grass seed, but you apply it at a smaller rate on a pasture. It doesn't take as much. This is a 50-pound bag, so it's like for 2 acres. So I mean, I just had this little tiny handheld, which is going to be fine for what I'm doing. If I had a bigger one, I could move faster, but I don't need it. So if you don't need something, you don't need it. So for the pastures, I mean, we've got all kind of different grasses growing in. Anytime I see bare spots, I'm just going to go in and throw some Kentucky 31 seed down and then cover it with straw. I've got plenty of hay bales, obviously, that I'm trying to get rid of. So I'll just throw some seed down and throw some hay on it and see what happens. Now, seed is expensive. This was 50 pounds, was $120. I bought it at the co-op in Dixon, and I should have just bought it at Home Depot because it was cheaper. Not terribly expensive. If you only need 30 pounds an acre, then it's not like I need a ton anyway. At that seed rate, that's for grazing, because you're going to let it grow. It's going to be taller than in your lawn. So I guess that's why if you keep it cut shorter in your lawn, that's why they tell you to plant it at a higher rate. And then you just walk around with it. It's got a little lever on the side. So you pull that back, and I've got it turned way down where I'm not seeding it too high of a rate. And I'll just pull this lever and walk along and seed. So let's go do that while Emily finishes mowing. So I did some grading up here the other day behind my retaining wall. I'm trying to get it kind of leveled out so it's a little easier to mow. And I'm just going to seed this today. Pretty easy. It's a pretty Tennessee day, not too hot today. And the wind's blowing. It's probably blowing in my microphone, which is not good. We're taking it up there. Almost. We got a little bit more. So there's going to be a wall there, so that's going to get dug out. Just getting some grass up here. And then we'll finish down here, and then we're probably done for the day. Now this was very dusty work. I mean, so we did 3 areas. We did the front, kind of in front of the building, and then we did up at the front on the other side of the driveway. And then this area back here was the largest area, and it was an area where I had scraped a bunch of gravel out of the dirt and had moved it up the hill into my driveway. And then I was just left with kind of dirt. So I you know, we wanted to plant grass seed there, get it covered with straw, and then hopefully this would come in as well, kind of like that first area we did. But the straw was, I mean, you can kind of see every time you pull it off, there's just dust flying everywhere. So I guess I'm supposed to be allergic to hay and straw and all that. So it didn't do me any good to be breathing all that. But it was not horrible. We made several trips back and forth, got everything covered up, and then just waited for the rain to come. And it came. The first batch that we did worked perfectly. It rained literally that night, and by the next week, grass was coming up. This spot back here, it waited a few weeks before any rain came, and it came up later in the fall, before winter. So I'm anxious to see how it makes it through the spring and then into the summer, and because this is pretty clay, there's lots of clay in this soil. So I'm anxious to see what it looks like long term. It can't be worse than it was, though. So, good project. That's it. Grass seed sowed, covered with hay. That's a hard job. Now we just need for it to rain. Maybe it'll rain this weekend. Maybe not.